Hey, community, it's Jarvis Sam. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm the founder and CEO of the Rainbow Disruption and one of Houston's finest, might I add. What's brewing today?
Jarvis Sam and the Rainbow Disruption.
The Tennessee Three.
And RuPaul Drag Race finale. So get your cups ready for Minority Report.
Hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Carell.
It's Auntie Dwan.
And it's Auntie Jarrell. Hey, y'all.
Hey. And it's another special week. And I'm excited for this episode. We have a special guest. And hold on, I like to do a little opening. Hold on. So we have the former Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office at Nike. We got the first head of diversity and inclusion at Snapchat. We got the Forbes 30 Under 30 in Sports Class of 2021, the Portland Business Journal's 40 Under 40, the CEO and the founder of DEI firm, the Rainbow Disruption, and the Houston, Texas, baby.
Come on.
Baby. Himself, Jarvis Sam. How are you doing today?
Why did I do this?
I don't know where that came from.
Yosemite Sam
like
over
Houston,
here.
Texas, like this.
It was giving Looney Tunes. It was absolutely.
It was.
I am doing so fabulous today. It is a wonderful Tuesday. I am out here in a sunny now Los Angeles, California, after several weeks of rain, where Tony lied to all of us. So I am feeling about myself and about my life. And honestly, I'm just so happy to be on here and be in community with the three of you. I'm so inspired by your work. I've followed this channel for quite a while, and I'm thrilled to be a part of the conversation.
That's up. Well, it's about to be about you first. So I'm excited to have you on here too, because you also operate in a space that has become more like aware to me, like just being Black and, businesses, you get used to just the code switching and just playing the game and jumping through the hoops and hurdles that you forget you can operate in a space where it's about removing some of those barriers and obstacles. So like, I'm excited that you bring something that a lot of people that listen to our podcast probably haven't even had the opportunity to even think about, so I'm glad you're here, Boo. And I'm one of them. So
before I guess we get too deep into it, what is your auntie name?
I am Auntie Black Russian. And in case you are not familiar, a Black Russian is often viewed as the White Russian's older brother. The Black Russian is 2 parts coffee liqueur and 5 parts vodka.
Okay, now, hey, here for it.
Wait, did you say 5? 5 parts vodka?
I said older.
That's the turn up. Right, he said that's Black excellence right there, baby.
That choked me up.
I'm good over
here. Got a little heartburn.
I'm over here looking. Who gonna drink all that?
Now I understand. Now I understand why you where you are. Because you must be making some decisions when you be drinking them Black Russians.
I'm gonna just say the pandemic. I had a lot of good mornings.
Oh man. So like Jarrell just kind of hinted at, the DEI space, I mean, it's always been there and probably maybe under different titles and things like that. But I would say maybe the last decade is really starting to come where luckily people are finally to put focus on it. But let's even backtrack before that. Like growing up in like Houston, Texas, you listen to like Bills, and now I'm hot, hoes all on me. Were you dreaming of like being DEI, like the chief of DEI? Did you even know that's what you wanted to do? Or is that something you kind of fell into?
I definitely fell into it. I mean, even today, to be honest with you, my mama's friends ask her what I do, and she tells people I do affirmative action in personnel. So, like, you can take from that what you want to. So we're still growing and learning. But no, I remember growing up. It's funny you mentioned Bills. Like, I remember seeing Destiny's Child outside of Walmart. I remember when they used to bring folding chairs to a concert when they were opening for Boys to Men.
That
So
part.
coming up in Houston, for anybody that knows H Town well, it's changed a lot. Like during the 90s, it was not uncommon to drive 3 blocks away from my house one way, and you were horse stables, cows, raised feed store, and go 3 blocks the other way, and you're in the epicenter of like oil and gas excellence. And so I've just always had such a passion for and about Houston. But Houston will humble you too, because
Mm.
although it's this major city in Texas, it is indeed a major city in Texas. And
In
so
that
growing
part.
up, a lot of the elements of my identity that I'm so comfortable with espousing today, they were covered, they were hidden in a lot of ways because in the 90s in Houston, that was safety, that was protection. And so I grew up like many of us who grew up as black men in America, where my mom, for better or for worse, taught me and my brother the rule book of what it means to survive as a black man. You don't follow too closely behind certain people. You watch how you use your voice. I remember walking through convenience stores with my hands out or up all the time. Always ask for a receipt before you leave because they might assume that you're stealing something. And it's all of these rules and life lessons that I learned that I had no clue
Mm.
what the DEI space was, where it would position me, or anything like that. And now I harken back to those almost every single day in the work that I do with my career because it is my passion and motivator for trying to spark big social change.
Mm.
I know that's
And I
right.
think it's important just for those who are listening, just to understand when we say DEI, that means diversity, equity, and inclusion. Just for to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about. We don't want anybody like
Be on the same
what
page.
is this?
They said DEI. What the who is that?
Is that some kind of hair relaxer? I mean,
Honey.
what is going on?
That is a
I've had
word.
3 conversations this week alone with people who did not know that acronym. So I think it's,
Mm.
for those of us that are in this space, it's commonplace, but it's also, we need to recognize that not everybody's where we're at. So
Mhm.
That's a word. So you said you kind of stumbled into it. What was like maybe what did you go to college for? Like what was that journey about?
Yeah, I went to Rice for undergrad and I studied history, public policy, and sport management. And I really thought, y'all, I was going to go be a sports and entertainment lawyer, was fully ready,
Oh.
like LSAT and everything. And then I started doing some coaching and understanding exactly what they do. And I'm like, listen, I don't want to do celebrity DUI cases. Like, or like these contracts for these people who gonna get in trouble and kicked out of the league at some point for some reason or another anyway. And so I pivoted because I wanted to move into something different, something better. And I went into strategy consulting, and it was terrible. It was really bad. I
Mm.
found myself working for a great firm, but like it was not the job for me because you sent me home at 11:30 talking about change these bullets to be 80% of font, and I'm like, you could have done that yourself in the
Yes.
time it took you to send
A
me this
whole
email.
word.
So it was not using the parts of my brain that I wanted to.
I know that's right.
So I
I'm
like
glad
to
you
tell people
noticed that though, because
I
not a
went
lot
to
of people know
school.
how to identify that.
True, true. I went to school to be a student. That's it. Me and my siblings, we are all first generation college students. And so we knew and were taught about the value and importance of education. But for me, it was just going after it. It didn't really matter what I studied. I knew that I would make something of it.
Mm.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that. Don't want to go ahead because I'll sit here and just be in the college realm all day.
Well, I mean, first of all, this is just providence because we had connected through work,
Yes.
because I'm at the office and building out this year long initiative where we're bringing in industry experts to talk about different topics. And Jarrell, you had mentioned at the top of the call, the concept of covering, which is interesting that you say that because that's going to be one of the topics that Jarvis is going to be talking about. What is that, tomorrow?
Yes.
Tomorrow, the day after, I can't remember, but we're gonna be talking about, well, he's going to be talking about intersectionality and covering, and so / code switching. And so it's great when we have an opportunity to provide space and financing to Black owned businesses. So we practice what we preach, not
Yep.
only in the workplace, but also like on our podcast. And part of the
Yep.
reason for us having this podcast is to amplify a lot of the different voices that are within our community that oftentimes don't have the opportunity to be heard. So I just want to say thank you, because I feel like before we get to do the proper professional conversations with the work folk, we get to kiki, and cut it up tonight,
Yes.
and have a little bit of fun. So first of all, thank you. Talk to us a little bit about your journey into this space of diversity, inclusion, and equity. What was the impetus for you to really dive full force into it? And more importantly, what have you learned now that if you think back on like your journey from where you started back in, doing consulting work and in college days to where you are today?
Yeah. I found myself in college always being so attracted to topics connected to race, sexual orientation, and gender identity. And for me, I wanted to understand, how do people interact with these constructs, both in workplaces, in academic environments, certainly in government. So when I was an undergrad, I went to college in '09. So President Obama had just gotten into office a little bit before. And I saw this cosmic shift in how people were thinking about and talking about the reality of Black life in America. And then I started to see this global reverberation where people are viewing America differently because of the steps that were being taken to drive racial equity and racial freedom. And so I found myself throughout my entire undergraduate experience doing a lot of writing about this, and a lot of public speaking and delivery and lecturing on this exact topic. And so when I then went into management consulting, it wasn't the right path for me. And yet I do believe everything that we do and every action we take are learning experiences. I get there and I start to see all these same concepts that I had written about and lectured about come to life. I'm seeing me and the one Latina girl who is on the team not get invited to these golfing events. And to clarify, I don't strike myself much as a Tiger Woods anyway, so that wasn't a problem. I can drink with the best of them. Like, I like to kick it in a chalet, and I can drive a golf cart.
That part.
Boom.
The issue was, it was at these golfing events that conversations about people's careers were not just being developed and talked about, they were being cemented. The next projects that people were going to be put on were being positioned in these conversations. The interactions in terms of performance reviews and performance evaluations were literally being set there. And so it occurred to me that no matter how hard she and I tried or worked on this project work, no matter how many rave reviews we received from the client, that was so secondary to these social engagements that were becoming the essence of people's ability to navigate, develop, and manage their own careers. And so for me, I was done. I've always lived my life with a perspective. There's this a great professor, Deepak Malhotra, who coined this idea of quit early and quit often. And that's been my vibe. Like, if I know that this is a place that I'm not wanted, I leave. It has probably not helped me a ton in relationships, because I'll be like, I'm out. But we had work in the workplace. And I realized it then. And so I checked out from the organization I was working at. And as life and serendipity would have it, I got contacted by a recruiter at Google to go work in the tech industry. And the role was in the DE&I space, doing work with some of their talent acquisition teams. And so I didn't know what it would even be, what it would include. But almost immediately I said, this is where I should be. Because now I'm forging those connections of all those experiences from childhood. I'm seeing and feeling this experience of sixth grade Jarvis, who had gone to an all Black elementary school, but day one felt like a fish out of water when I looked around these classes at Grady Middle School and I was the only Black person in them. And these folks asked me to like come over for dinner tonight, and I know Teresa ain't gonna have that happen. Those that were coming back is how to move from this space of solo identity and what can feel very lonely into a space where I finally understood, if I can harness this passion, this knowledge, this ethos that I've built in academic and professional spaces, we can make some work. And so that's why I tell people that's how I got jumped in to doing DEI work.
I got two questions for you.
Okay.
So my first question is, who is your braid lady on the pictures on your website? Because I ain't want no braids in a long time, but I'm about to unbald this head in a few months to get some of them braids as well, because they are a whole mood on your website. You gotta say that.
First of all, I have to give a huge shout out to Portland's own Shaniqua Volt.
Shaniqua.
She
okay.
first time talking about this in public outside the clubs. Shaniqua is both my hairstylist and braider and loctician for this do. But Shaniqua is also my drag mom. So I actually do
Yeah.
drag.
Yes.
Yeah,
Come
Really?
on,
I
Okay.
do.
Oh, that's
Shaniqua.
Okay.
awesome.
Sasha Volt is her name.
Okay.
Wait, Sasha Volt?
Yes.
Sasha Volt.
Oh, you're part of the Volt family?
She is.
Providence.
Kiki
Providence.
was
Right?
See this?
Kiki was one of my first friends here in Seattle.
Oh,
Aw.
Ah.
yes.
Don't.
Yeah.
Oh, don't right.
Look,
Don't boo. Don't go into the ugly cry, girl.
yes.
Yes, that's
So
why.
that was question number one.
I met your
What
drag
was
mom. I
question
met your
number
drag
two?
mom up here. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Before
Question
she
number
starts
two.
Googling, go to
Look,
question
for
number
real.
two.
Question number two is, how do you find ways to stay motivated in your space? Because when I think of DEI, I also think about quite often having to take up space in spaces where you aren't frequently at, and having to reteach and re-explain, that there are differences, that we're not the same, and etc. And that can, to me, can get tiresome. I think about, like, for instance, an example, like, the aunties get tired of talking about politics on the podcast all the time.
Yep.
But these are all conversations that need to be had. You do it from a a professional standpoint. How do you pour back into your cup where you are inspired to go to the next space and be like, all right, so let's rearrange this. Let's Marie Kondo this shit over here, and I'm gonna go to this business, and we're gonna fix some shit up over here. What does that process look like for you?
Listen, I have been a lifelong learner, and I strongly believe that, like, when we find ways to demonstrate empathy drives learning.
Mm.
And I know it is very difficult because sometimes people test my patience every day. And yet, we were talking about this before the call. It's this idea, some folks live by the idea that we all got 24 hours in a day. Don't let that 15-minute moment impact you. For me, I actually live by it on a weekly basis. We all have 168 hours in any given week. I don't have bad weeks. I've never had a bad week before, because these blips in moments, these experiences with people, I cannot let them weigh on me so heavily that it ruins me. Part of signing up to do this job and fully being open heart and open mind and committing to giving the biggest amount of emotion of yourself means that you are signing up to compartmentalize certain elements of your own experience. And, and that's tough. And it's fear inducing and it's anxiety inducing. I will never forget May 25th, 2020, when George Floyd was murdered. I knew what I had to do. I had to set my own emotions as a Black man who has had my own share of experiences with gun violence in Portland, Oregon. I had to set those very triggering and traumatic experiences to the side, who've had experiences connected to police brutality, to the side, because I knew that there was a whole population of Black identified folks at the organization I was working with at the time that depended on me to show some semblance of hope in what felt like a space of deprivation and degradation of life, identity, and experience. It's not healthy, though. And so, as I talk to DEI practitioners, I highly encourage them to seek out their own support for well being and mental health. And in fact, I implore organizations and companies, give money to these folks, because what we need extends beyond employee assistance programming. You're talking about a group of people that, when we see shootings like Pulse in Orlando, when we see shootings and experiences in clubs and spaces that we occupy as gay and queer people, we have to set that to the side to show up and support others. Because if they see, it's kind of like parenting. If they see that level of emotional anguish relishing in us, then they lose all confidence in the ability for the organization to navigate and manage that. And so I do a couple of things to keep my cup full. Every morning I meditate. No holds bars. I do not check my email. I do not check my text messages from the night before. I spend time meditating, because that helps me to center me on how my day is going to go. Child, especially from 2016 to 2020, when somebody was in office, I couldn't do it because I knew when I looked at the news there was going to be something that really got me.
Some
Word.
bullshit on the news. Look, some bullshit.
And so I had to recenter myself. And then, I always go back to the question of my why. Like, why do I do this work? Why do I position myself in the way and space that I do? And it centers around this one idea. We all have operated in a world where history has repeated itself so frequently and so often without the right points of intervention. When people ask me how I think about my role, if I own titles are fleeting, in my opinion. My identity is an interventionist. I want to show people that something different can happen if we create the opportunity and space to let it happen. And where that space is not provided to us, don't worry. We'll find it. We'll seek it out. We'll push through it. And that's
That's
what
a
makes people
word.
uncomfortable, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
Oh, you better ruffle them feathers.
Lonnie, a word. Well, kind of leading off of that last statement there, like, so the DEI world always is interesting to me because, and luckily I work for in corporate America for a company that actually has a black woman as their head of DEI, which is not the norm. A lot of the space is still, at least the high level, ran by white people. For a probably, I don't know the percentages, but I would
Yep.
guess way over 50%,
Yep.
60%,
Yep.
70%.
Yep.
How do we, and especially for folks that might not be at the high positions, what steps can we take day to day when we know certain companies might be led by white folks in the DEI space, and not to say they're not doing a great job. There's a lot of folks that are, but there are still a lot of folks that have a lot of blind spots that they, even though are the head of DEI, might not realize they're incorporating into the culture of a corporation. What can someone that's sitting at their desk day to day, not at that level, do to inspire change at their jobs?
I'm going to answer this twofold because I want to talk to those people that are sitting in those roles, assuming that they're part of the community or that somebody will share it out to them.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I'll say. And I will specifically speak to cis white women who are sitting in head of DEI roles and queer white men who are sitting in head of DEI roles. I need you to understand the positions with which you occupy come with a lot of positional authority, the opportunity for political activism, and what's more, a ton of capital. Be conscious about how we may still be reifying the same systems of identity oppression that we feel in real life. My homegirl Melissa from GLAD, I just adore her. She posted on LinkedIn yesterday with a preamble caveat that she started not to post this. And what it was an image highlighting in the work to advance LGBTQ plus rights, don't forget about the racism that you're already packing alongside yourself as well. And I feel obligated to call this out because I have and continue to face far more racism in the LGBTQ plus community than I ever have homophobia in the Black community. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist because the deep roots that we have to the church and religion and a variety of other facets contribute to that. But I feel like the Black community has been on a journey of reckoning with how we handle and navigate our kin folks who are of the LGBTQ plus community. We are not having enough conversations about that and the impact of racism within our own communities. I say this to say, if you do not exist at an intersectional identity at the basis of racial minoritized status and gender minoritized status or minoritized status or marginalization on the basis of sexual orientation, you got to really think about the privilege that you still hold in the world. If your privilege exists in such a way that until you tell people about your elements of marginalization, they don't know, that you can intrinsically cover those experiences, be aware of the roles with which you occupy, because the advocacy with which you provide may not be a felt experience for others. What's more, when we have folks that look like us and when we have Black women who are occupying these seats, we need to be able to give her the space, time, and energy to recognize she is an expert practitioner and professional in her own right. Her identity is a part of that, and so is her lived experience. But do not assume that because she does not come from the same experience as you, that she can't do her job. I will tell y'all a real talk example. At one of my previous employers, I encountered a lot of pushback and engagement when navigating big topics connected to Asian American and Pacific Islander communities, in that a couple of folks within the organization made statements, claims, and assumptions that because I am a queer identified Black man, that all of my work and attention are only centered around those lived experiences. First of all, it is disrespectful and it's unfounded. Because I would happily let you know that a lot of the work that I did in my bachelor's thesis was actually about Deng Xiaoping's reign in late mid-century China. and the impact of how you shifted
Get them together.
academic and
not the receipts,
Right.
not the
Get them
receipts.
together. They said there was Tamika and Candy and Tiny. You said, hold on.
She said, let the record show.
it is
First point.
It's such a flawed assumption. It's fallacious in nature because I don't see people doing that to cis white men, especially cis straight white men that are occupying seats of CFOs, CMOs. We don't ask them to produce their receipts on the best marketing campaigns or innovation tactics that they launched. So don't come at us when we occupy these same seats along the way. And I took some time to help those couple of folks in the community understand my commitment to solidarity, allyship, advocacy, and activism, and that I have always fought for that community. I have always positioned opportunities for viewing them as my brethren and sisters in this work. My only expectation is that the same happens when my community is out front. To your other question, though, around what can we do when we're sitting at the desk trying to grapple and navigate this, there are really 4 things employees care about: transparency, visibility, accountability, and belonging. Center and sit yourself in those and recognize that transparency is only as useful as the information that we have. We know what to do with it. This is why I love to get the tea from people, but if I can't do anything with or about it, spread it. If there's nothing, it's not that helpful. And so I tell people, understand what are those values that you want to bring to the table and be unmoving and unwavering with those. That is what authenticity is. I say this a lot in different lectures that I do, y'all. I do not bring my full self to work because my full self does not belong in anybody's corporate setting.
You know what's funny? I was literally having this same conversation with my DEI team today. Not today. It was earlier this week. And I'm struggling. I've been personally struggling with this concept of bringing, because we've heard all different iterations: bring your whole self, bring your full self, bring your authentic self. And I struggle with that because there are so many parts of ourselves that don't belong at work. When I'm looking at dick pics on Twitter,
that's a word
that don't belong in the office place.
Right.
Sorry.
It's a true statement.
My whole self, I might bring 2%.
Right, that jock and that leather daddy hat I got, that ain't going to work today.
That ain't. I'm getting a call from HR real quick. Covering the whole stuff at work.
Funny, a word.
I heard somebody feelings.
Even though let's be clear, y'all know pre-pandemic, the grinders used to be popping the biggest when you were in the corporate office.
Honey.
I told this story on here where how I found out what my manager was gay because I heard the grinder go off.
Yeah.
I heard that and I was like, yes, girl, get him. Get him.
Now we know. And knowing is half the battle.
Right. So I center around this idea of listen, there's a set of core values that are important to me, and that's what I'm going to bring to the workplace. And that is what I'm going to check people's experience with how they interact with me and how I interact with them based on those sets of values. And when those values are called into question or put in conflict, then that is the moment where I have to either recuse myself from a situation, remove myself from an environment, or quit.
Yeah. What do you say to an average person who's working in a corporate setting who they may have, some DEI initiatives. They may have a chief diversity officer. They may have these things. What do you say to a person who wants to better understand whether or not they're working for a company that's doing things in a performative way or actually doing things intentionally and with focus and strategy to drive meaningful action? Because I know I sit in this space all day long, so I can see behind the velvet curtain who's grinding the gears and turning the knobs and all that kind of stuff. So, but for your average employee, no, it's the wizard, boo. It's the wizard. It's the wizard. He back there. So, but your average employee, they have no idea. And depending upon how their company is structured and where they sit within their organization, whether they're at home or in an office or whatever, they may have certain experiences, but they might not have an idea as to whether or not this is a company where I could truly grow my career and I could align myself from a retention perspective. I can get engaged. I know that they support me, What do you say to those folks? How do they know the difference?
Yeah, there's two things. It's so funny. You call it a velvet curtain, child. I think half these companies are definitely giving Velcro. Like you just snatch it, you snatch it.
Venetian blinds.
Absolutely, absolutely. It ain't quite there. I think the question of performance, it's an interesting one because there's a lot of performative engagement that we see, particularly in Fortune 1000s right now. There's a lot of performative engagement that we see through governmental agencies, and there's a lot of performance that we see at university levels right now. Starting with corporations, I often encourage people take a look at that employee experience and then that consumer experience. If your company is more comfortable speaking to the black consumer than they are to the black employee, we have a problem. If
Say
that was
that again. Get my drink.
if they are open to changing that logo on LinkedIn to be rainbowed and beautiful from June 1, but by the time it hits June 30th at 11:59:59
that shit down.
Australian Standard Time, they already done pulled it or they have a timer set on it, that's performance. If they are unwilling to take a stance and outline a perspective, I get it. We're all navigating dynamics. And this is why I term myself as a business leader who happens to work in the DEI space. And that I use this as a means to help organizations realize their full social and economic potential. I think about this through the lens of how we run and operationalize a business. So I get it. There are constraints with government, particularly for government contractors that we got to think about. There are constraints with people and teams and consumers that we have to think about. But you can have a point of view on a topic, particularly if that topic impacts the folks that represent the largest proportion of your consumer base, or they are representative across a group of employees that are doing the work for you. And I say this specifically to organizations that work in retail spaces or orgs that have distribution centers, because the majority of the folks that are going to be in those spaces look a lot like us. And so you get into what I call the prepositional dilemma. You have the folks that are big and at corporate who work at an organization, and then you have those folks that are in distribution centers and retail who work for an organization. And that for at complex makes a big difference because a lot of the folks who work for the organization tend to be underrepresented minorities and tend to be those folks that help to amplify those numbers in those annual impact reports that we see for these organizations. Number two, does your company disaggregate that data? I don't want to know what the full percentage and representation is of just people of color. Our experiences, our dynamics, the contours and dimensions of who we are so different. I want to know specifically, what are you doing to grow and build representation for Black communities, Hispanic and Latino populations, Asian American and Pacific Islander populations, and beyond that land acknowledgement that you have become so fond of reading lately, what are you doing to give voice, liberation, and sovereignty through the lens of representation and economic development to First Nations and Native and Indigenous populations? That is what you giving me this number together limits my ability to make effective decisions, because every win that you have of somebody that has even a percentage of connection to the community, you celebrate yourself. I believe it sounds a lot like the rhetoric that was used to justify the one drop rule. So let's think about how some of these
preaching today, y'all.
the way we interact in our day-to-day environments. Get comfortable disaggregating it so that we can do better by intention and deliberateness.
I think it's an interesting state of affairs when people are. Let me take one step back and say that the pandemic has completely changed the landscape of working full stop period.
Yep.
Because we have a significant number of individuals who have moved from working in office, and that was their only experience, to working 100% at home, to now starting to navigate kind of a transition back to whatever return to office is going to look like for their particular organization. We're still, albeit we're acting like COVID never happened now, it's still visceral in a lot of our minds of what that was like, walking around Lysoling and bleaching everything and wearing masks and da-da-da-da-da. And then you also have the mass exodus of the baby boomer generation from the workplace, which is taking a lot of with them, taking a lot of institutional knowledge, taking a lot of also institutionalized and systemic practices that historically disenfranchise a lot of us. And we're replacing those individuals in some part, not totally, with the youngest of generations that have grown up with images of Black and brown people and queer people, and I know that I'm using these umbrella terms, but just for simplicity, and not to diminish anyone's personal experience, but grown up with diversity in the forefront. That people like us have fought for, and people that came before us that have fought for and died for, so that could happen. So it's a very interesting thing, because the pressure that is being put on companies today from employees who are saying, I am not willing to bring my talent to an organization that I'm not aligned with their values and how they operate and what their culture is palpable. But there are still people today in roles and in companies that are not aligned with them, with their values, that don't really see them as whole individuals, or as meaningful contributors to their workplace culture, but they see them as a number. That's what I mean by that. And there's a lot of performative work. You mentioned that your kin folks say you work in affirmative action, but this harkens back to affirmative action, where there were people put in place just to say, I got my quota filled. And so we had all these organizations coming out with all of these big commitments, following George Floyd. And I know you and I are seeing in this space a lot of rollback, and particularly a lot of companies who did not deliver against the things that they said that they were going to deliver on. The money that they were going to be investing into certain organizations, the roles that they were going to be creating within their organizations, you name it. And so it can be disheartening, for people who are in this world, or in this world, and people that are just doing their regular jobs, to figure out, where do I fit within this? And do I need to keep running the rat race, because people are thinking about their financial security. They're thinking about the things that their job affords them. And I would love to
I'm tired of doing that Eddie font.
So I would love to I say all that to say that I would love for you to just share a little bit about the decision that you made to move away from a corporate focused role to doing your own thing, because a lot of people want to do their own thing in some way, shape, or form, but they're struggling with that transition and how to make that happen. And the notion of, I'm giving up something that, particularly in the Black community, we all grow up learning about, you got to get that good job, right? And good job just meant security, which there is no security in corporate America. So talk to us a little bit about that.
It's exactly that. It's this concept of security and safety. I talk a lot about my mama, because she's like my best friend along with my siblings. But she did not understand my decision up front. She did not. The idea of leaving corporate America, all of these things that you've worked for, that you've worked toward, to receive this level of positional power and positional authority, and to leave it. And in fact, people will often say, oh, I can't believe you left XYZ company. I heard it after every single company I left. I can't believe you left Google. I can't believe you left Snapchat. I can't believe you left Nike. And there are a couple of things that I came to realize. There's a reason y'all like me here. I'm contributing something. But if that argument is true, and that the impact to which I'm contributing is so deeply valued in this organization, if I chose to invest in myself that much more, that intrinsic value doesn't go away. It's like certain investments that we make in the stock market. There are some portfolios that will just continue to produce greatness because they're tried and true, because they've been pressure tested. I've been tested a time or two, a lot in the space.
They tried it.
They do. And so if all of those things are true, the impact of me to be able to go out and do this on my own should be that much more impactful. I will tell you, I firmly believe in the democratization of DEI. And what I mean by that is, I don't think that brain trust, identity, impact should exist just in one organization. And this is where I think we've kind of lost the ability to impact influence. Furthermore, like I consider myself a change leader and a change agent. I'm not much of a maintenance person. And so when I come in and help an organization build a strategy, an operating model, and an optimization plan that helps them to move forward on their journey to a space that I'm confident and proud of what we've accomplished, that's my time. And what I figured out is that with the current approach that I've used over the last 10 years, I can only do that within a certain organization or certain institution for a 3 to 5 year period. But then I'm only impacting party of one. What
Okay.
happens if I take a step back and take on a large portfolio of clients that allow me to context switch every day, every hour, every moment based off the needs of that organization in a way to support them on their terms based off of their needs using the knowledge that I've built both academically and professionally to support them. And that is why I went out on my own. I knew that it would be a good idea to create this. I tell people, and people often ask me about the name of my company. Part of it really was just to justify to my mama why I have these rainbow locks. But the was really rooted in this idea. I remember, which should have been the first day giveaway of my life and lifestyle. I was obsessed with prisms when I was in elementary school because you know what it is. You shine a light through a prism, you get a rainbow exposure of luminescence out from it. That was the essence of what I want to be able to provide for companies is a level of disruption that says the majority of companies are sitting on that prism. They have not yet figured out how to position that flashlight in exactly the right way and on the exact backboard that's going to give you that beautiful array of rainbow impact that's possible, that beautiful visual that we all desire for. My organization is that light. It is that backboard based off of our experiences that we've acquired to be able to move that work in the right way. When you ask the question, Dewan, about people on that rat race and continuing to go forward, I got to share a very quick story with y'all from this morning. I flew from Portland to LA. Had my headphones in like normal. I was listening to Leave the Door Open by Silk Sonic. It's my jam. Do it as the plane takes off.
Okay.
I heard this voice, though, come over the PA system, and it said, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. And I was like, oh, took this out because it was an unfamiliar voice for me. The dialect felt somewhat so familiar. I said, that sounds like a sister. I looked up and it was. I have
Hey.
flown on over 1,000 flights. And this is the first time in history that I can recall being flown by a Black woman pilot, and not just pilot, she was the captain. If you can see this, I had to stop this sister for a picture. This is Captain Tamika
Yes.
Adams
Oh,
from United Airlines. And I explained to her, I remember, Duan, you mentioned these childhood moments of seeing visuals and experiences. I remember reading about Bessie Coleman and falling in love with who she was and being the first Black and first Native woman to get a pilot's license. And now I'm
Mhm.
seeing Tamika do this.
the fruits of the
That's
labor.
why we continue the rat race. It feels hard. I know, I get it. But every step or process, every moment that we make oppressive leadership in government and within our companies feel uncomfortable and feel that sense of discomfort that they get even further pushed out or pushed away, we are having the opportunity to create more space for more Tamikas to be developed because we're showing young Black girls that it's not just about you getting your first plane ticket to fly on that plane. You can eventually be the one that's captaining that.
That
And
flying
that's why we
damn plane. I know that's right. I know that's right. I love that. And honestly, now that you say, it, I was like, I don't think I've seen that myself. All
yeah.
these damn flights I took. It's like, and like you
Well,
said, there's a dialect that come on. You're like, oh shit, okay, you find the plane, boo.
Yeah. Well, and why
they
you
have a
talking
they have
about?
a they have a few in Delta. I will say that.
Yes.
They have
That is true.
quite a
That is,
few.
What?
I love it.
Even living
I
in
love
Uh
Atlanta
it.
like
huh.
that, I don't think I've been on
Right,
one.
like it's ATL.
Right. Like all the years living in Atlanta, I don't think I was on one though. All them damn flights. Damn, I missed that. You can tell by the music that's playing when you walk on.
Right.
Right. not,
That is so here,
not doing a church walk to your seat.
You
That
got the
little
finger up.
one step.
Excuse
Look,
me.
look.
Excuse me. I'm in first class right here. Row 2, thank you. Excuse me.
And that's just for the city girls. So
Look.
Oh man. So, I mean, we could talk about this all day. Where can they find you? Like, if folks are listening to this episode right now and want to hire you and your company to help their company out, what do they do? What's the protocol?
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate that in the space and platform. www.rainbowdisruption.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Jarvis Sam, and then on Instagram at official Jarvis Sam. And I reply to all of those. I have an amazing team too that partners with me. We do work across a variety of different spaces. We do great keynote addresses and lectures like the amazing one that I'm excited to partner with Dewan on tomorrow, as well as direct strategy overhauls and strategy retakes for organizations. Executive coaching, and then even in the product and marketing space, helping organizations understand that DEI doesn't start or stop with your team and talent strategy. It's these products that you put in the marketplace. It's the insights that you provide in brand campaigns that you may not realize are fatphobic in your attempt to be size inclusive, that we will help you understand how to craft the right narrative to support the communities that you do truly, in my opinion, want to honestly and seriously serve genuinely. We help you do that and bring it to life.
Love it. Love it. And it's always so interesting to me. It's like all these companies, especially ones that you've worked at, great at innovation. All these companies so good at innovation, but they can't figure out how to innovate in the DEI space. That shit like boggles my fucking mind.
I tell people all the time this. They do not, and this is all companies, they do not put the same budget, rigor, and intensity into social innovation that they do product innovation. If you even use the same operating model, plan, and scheme that you do on developing a new shoe, that you do on developing a new app, that you do on developing a new damn cookbook,
that part.
You can innovate in this space in the same way.
It's wild. It's wild. Hey, community, guess what? Our 4th anniversary of Minority Report is coming up, boo, right around the corner, and we actually have a new date for you.
That's right. Join us April 19th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Yes, so bring your wigs, bring a tasty beverage, some Ask Your Auntie questions, and come kiki with your aunties as we celebrate our 4-year anniversary. And honestly, it couldn't have been possible without you all. So we can't wait to see you all on April 19th at 8:30 p.m. See y'all soon.
Well, community, we're not going to do an Ask Your Aunties this week because we got a couple more little topics and questions that we want to ask. So, you mentioned drag, community, and right now we know Drag Race is coming to an end. So, community, we know the finale was a few days ago by the time you're hearing this. Have you been watching this season of Drag Race? Do you watch Drag Race?
I love me some Drag Race. I am one of the number one stands for Miss Shangela all day. Love you, RBA.
Hallelujah. Who's your favorite? Who do you? I'm not even favorite at this point. Let's say who wins. Who wins the season? We'll see if we're right by next week.
Oh, this is a hotly debated topic in the Vote family and in Portland, Oregon right now. I'm going with Mama Vote on this one, Miss Sasha Colby.
I mean, you can't go wrong with that vote.
I know.
Yeah.
What do you think of Jarrell?
Let me tell you, I want Sasha Colby to win too. I really do. Like, that's who I want to win. I just feel that's just polished, just absolute polished, and just embodies everything that I want as the winner for the season. And she has the most like wins as well too. I just
the record speaks.
Right. I mean, like, what else more is there to say? Like, we can pull out the stats, but it should be Sasha Colby. But I can't help but think about what Carell's been saying for the last 17 weeks, which is it's gonna be Anitra. They gonna give it to Anitra.
I feel like they've been setting Anitra up.
they are, which I'm not mad at, but Sasha is the one that deserves it. Okay. And she should have won the last actual final challenge as well too.
Agreed.
Yeah, because that music video, she was firing.
She ate.
Fierce.
She ate.
Fierce.
I was like, hey. And shout out to Mo, because Mo did that wig for her, by the way. The Pamela Anderson wig.
The Pamela Anderson wig.
I was like, okay, Mo, what's up, Mo?
Yeah.
Oh, she was so good. And then the alien outfit, I was like,
I have to say, that song, I really like despise a lot of like the Rue songs that they end up doing, but there was just something different about the verses that these women did. Number one, the fact that we're talking about all people of color.
Yes.
First in the history of Drag Race. So the vibe through the song with everyone's verse just hit different. Just because you had that extra, peas and rice and and salsita and like all the stuff that makes you want to make your mouth water.
Extra 16th note in there.
Right, exactly. All the bay leaves and everything, like all that stuff that make you
the paprika.
Yes, like the season that you never get every other season. You got a full ass Thanksgiving goddamn meal with this one. So I was just like, all of the women did all of the artists did a phenomenal job. I personally would want Anitra to win, but I think that Sasha deserves to win. And I'm going to say this with a little bit of shade. In my opinion, she's the only trans finalist that, in my opinion, deserves to be in that spot and deserves to win.
Say their names, Noel. Who didn't deserve to be there?
They know who they are, and y'all know who I'm talking about. The only. I did not stutter. The only. I
know that's right, bitch.
And I'm not talking about pre-transition, during the transition. I'm talking about the only. Full stop, period. Sasha's that one. She's that one.
Really is.
She really is. Like you see that in just certain people. Like you see them and you're like, there's just something different about you and you got it. And she definitely does. Yeah, but I gotta go ahead.
Episode 1, I knew Simone was gonna win. Like naturally. So like
1000%.
I feel that same vibe here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want Sasha to win just because I agree. Sasha's just a different level, but I just feel like they've been setting Anitra up to win that they might just give it to her. And so, but I won't be disappointed with either or, but Sasha does definitely deserve to win because she's just, her caliber is just different.
And to that point, if that's the case, like what they did with Simone, then it would be Anitra because Anitra won the first challenge. Yeah. So I can very much see that.
Yep.
So we'll see.
I know that in years past.
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say, I know that in years past, before they upped the ante, because now they're getting not $100, they're getting $200,000. So when the taxes come out, you coming away with at least $100,000, and that's good. But in years prior, when I don't want to say only giving away $100,000, but when you only walking away with 40, you can say only $100,000 because the taxes they be hitting hard. So, and the reason I bring this up is because the winner is beholden to the production company for a minimum of a year. Yeah. So their earning potential, even though they get that upfront cash, isn't as great as those that actually become runners up or those that are within the top 10 because they're not able to book their own fees. There's a certain level of restriction of just from the contracts that they sign in terms of kinds of gigs, but they're able to take on more gigs, personal gigs, and get that bank within that first year before the new crop of queens come out, than the winner did. So it was a nice to have to win the seasons in years past, but it was better to be the runner up because you made that bank. This
now
with this extra bump, it could be a little bit.
Oh, you got money! Yeah, let me go ahead and win this thing. Then.
All I want to say is, and I want to put this out there too on a different note. Okay, Corral, and please, we gotta make this a clip.
Okay,
Sasha Colby, you'll be here at Seattle Pride. I want to meet you, my love. Okay, so we need to make this happen. Whatever I gotta do,
podcast. That's what we need.
I need to. Yes, on the podcast too, but all right, of the two aunties, three aunties who said I was picking you, okay, I want to meet you, okay, so I'm just, out
there. But we'll welcome all of the finalists onto our podcast that want to come, so.
That's up, Marsha.
Damn.
I'm joking.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
Kind of. So
Smithy.
right, right. And shout out to Smithy, by the way. I got to hang with Smithy last weekend, by the way. He was in Philadelphia. Shout out to Smithy. But so we asked Mo last time she was recently here, her drag Voltron. So since you're part of the whole community, we're gonna ask you to drag Voltron questions too. Megazord, whatever. You take different parts and create a super drag queen. And so we want you to pick who is the creme de la creme for yo super drag queen. And so the first category is, let's switch it up in the order this time. Let's say humor for the first time for this one. Who has just the best humor as a drag queen to you?
Silky Nutmeg Ganache.
Oh, that's the one's favorite.
Dewan be dragging him some Silky.
I live for Silky.
Who just got runner up actually at Miss Continental this past
Silky
weekend,
did?
too. Yeah, I got runner up. Yeah, first runner up. Yeah.
Let me see what
she looked
wore.
gorgeous. I loved her gown. Her evening gown was stunning. She looked really good.
She gives.
Yeah.
She gives to me too, not to Dewan.
Not to Dewan.
I know. He has not contributed one bit.
Look, that's what she went right to her phone. You saw that, right?
So did to go look it up.
Right.
And while he looking it up, who has the stage presence?
Oh,
trying to be the epitome.
This was easy, Miss Shangela.
Yeah.
Oh,
I knew you were gonna go there. Yeah.
For us to rise to the occasion of being able, it's gorgeous, Dewan.
Oh, that's stunning. That is stunning.
That's gorgeous. Yeah,
that is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Come on, Silk.
Not that part though.
Yeah.
She will find something. Leave it to her to find something.
Just let Silky live. Leave Silky alone.
Listen, when I first saw the dress, though, it is giving impossible.
All right, but back to Shangela. So
listen, when we can dominate on multiple seasons of Drag Race, dominate's a strong word, but when we can appear on multiple seasons of Drag Race and do exceptionally well, and then go even more heavily mainstream to Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. And she did fantastic on Dancing with the Stars. I loved her. Yeah. Hey, Gleb.
Should have actually won. In addition to that, I mean, listen, she performed Beyonce.
Exactly.
I think
that part of it.
She did win at that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I just want her to add just 6 more inches to her wigs. That's all. Just 6 more. Because
6 more.
They be
is this
shoulder
40 inches or no?
They be she is the queen of shoulder dusted. The wig be hidden right here.
Stiff wear.
Shangela, come just come down to the nipple, honey. Just please, just a little bit, because she a little too little. They got too big of a head.
I know her hairstylist, so I'm gonna deliver that message for you.
Please do. Please do.
Auntie Dewan said.
All right, not Auntie Dewan asking for a few more inches, though.
Honey. I mean,
I said what I said.
While you at it. All right. Next is makeup skills.
Ooh. I'm actually going to venture away from the RuPaul space. Keeping within the family, though, to go paint it with Raven, actually. One of the amazing Portland queens, the amazing Flawless Shade, is the best makeup artist I know.
Flawless Shade. I don't know this one. I need to write that.
Flawless is fabulous. Flawless was one of the runner-ups on Paint It with Raven. And, she gives. And, baby, she is a tall queen. I'm talking 6'5" plus tall.
Okay.
Yeah. Damn.
And
like without heels?
Without heels.
Oh, damn.
And
She's like a RuPaul glamour song. Styling. Who just has the best drip?
I'm gonna be super shady just because I feel like it and go with Derek Barry because
that is shady. because
What?
Derek be looking
Are
like
you talking about?
Derek be looking like the current Britney.
For
There are
real.
costumes and there are Britney
Honey.
costumes. And baby, Derek Barry understands the assignment.
I guess he does.
I mean, you ain't okay. When it comes to looking like Britney, you right.
You
When
right.
I went to the RuPaul at Vegas
Yeah.
and he performed the Britney number, I was like,
Mm, mm, mm,
The roots were showing and
mm.
everything, huh?
On a serious note, though, I would pick Simone for that one.
yes,
Simone
1000%.
sold me day in and day out when she came out with that Babs inspired costume. Because Babs is one of my
Period.
favorite movies. So.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
She
My
got me
two
with the
cents.
do rag.
Can't
With
just
the
fair.
train.
Okay, look, I'm with you, bitch. I see you, bitch.
It was the do rag train for
That's
me.
look every time. That's my best friend. Look,
That's right.
that's me. That's how I always hype my friends every time. That's my energy all day.
All right, business sense. Who has the best business sense?
Rue.
Outside of Rue, we can't. I mean, you're right.
Okay.
Rue is the queen of the queens.
You'll notice a trend with all of my favorite queens. Shea Coulee. Shay she just gets
Interesting.
it. She just gets it. I listen to what she says and how she talks about doing drag and the impact around it. Seems very business savvy. But I would have to do a tie on that one, baby. And also a good comedy queen, Bob the drag queen. Bob seems
Can't go wrong with Bob
incredibly
either.
business savvy, and Bob has figured out how to take drag from being just a platform to now doing We're Here alongside Shangela to now having their own comedy special. I love Bob.
And about to open for Madonna.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that part too. Come on.
That's
Now.
I
crazy.
think that's interesting because I think people make a correlation between somebody who has business savvy to somebody who has made a lot of money. So like the go-to is kind of like Trixie, right?
Yep.
Because she's
Yep.
made a lot of money for herself, but also she writes her own music. And so she's a
Yep.
lot of her finances come from her musical career, which is, only been bolstered by her drag. But that
Yep.
doesn't necessarily mean you have business savvy. It just means that you made money, which I think is a
Yep.
really interesting distinction.
Yep.
Love it.
Agreed.
Love it. And so we might as well keep this kind of going. We got another segment we just call Curiosity to further get to know you. Let's see here. What's love got to do with it? Because I know you're a Tina Turner fan. What's love got to do with it or Private Dancer?
That is asking me to pick between my favorite children, and parents
know.
do have one. They do.
Absolutely.
So who's your favorite?
Latasha.
You are so messy. Ooh. Private Dancer.
Right? I say the same thing.
Private Dancer.
That's
I
a
love
bop.
what love got to do with it. So let me tell you something. So I have a massive Tina Turner tattoo on my right leg.
Do you
All right.
really?
Massive. It is an image
That's awesome.
of her performing in heels and that cute little jean jacket and black leather skirt or dress rather. And then I have some lyrics floating around it. Proud Mary, keep on burning.
Gives a
and
new
then
meaning
What's
to, do
Love
you
Got
want to
to
see me do the shimmy again?
That line, when she says she is telling you how much she does not settle. American Express will do nicely, thank you.
Thank you. She was the original
Yes,
Tip
it will.
Drill.
Now, next time Tina gets in the studio, I need her to say American Express Platinum card, please. We'll do nicely, thank you. That way
Thank
we're
you. Lounge access.
right. And the fact that organization never took that song and threw it on a commercial, missed opportunity in the DEI.
Missed
Yeah.
opportunity.
Missed opportunity.
And missed opportunity for
Look,
Tina to
there's
get
always-
that coin from them.
There's always opportunity. There's always time and opportunity. Even though she's sitting up there drinking her Chablis in her chalet, there is always opportunity.
That's a word.
You know you that bitch. And I say that term so respectfully to her because I love her. I adore her. But when you just give up your American citizenship, you like
She said,
get somebody else to do it. Like she said, I'm done.
She said, I'm going to Switzerland. I'm going to Switzerland, darling.
Honey,
I know that's right. Woo.
Don't let me
let's see
find a
here.
vicomte. I'll be gone too.
See you later.
It'll
I
be.
know that's right.
It'll be.
What happened to Juwan? Oh, I don't know. I think he over there in Switzerland or something.
Right. That tracks.
Right. It sure does, right? Oh man. Let's see here. Dream Girls or The Wiz?
This one's easy. Hold on, let me see if I can. You'll notice something about me and what I really enjoy doing with love and life. This is an easy one, but I'm gonna let myself reveal it for you.
But she got a tattoo, don't she?
Oh, we are
Yeah.
Dream
Yes.
girl.
All day, every day.
Yeah. Come on
She
now.
said that was easy. That was
Easy.
easy.
She said this
I
body
tell
is
you
a
what I want.
canvas.
My
I know
life
that's
dream. I want to bring back original cast from Broadway and film cast, but I want to put them in different scenes from the film and have them re-record as mixed groups. For example, I would love to hear Jennifer Holliday do "And I'm Telling You," but I would love to see the lead up to that
Yeah.
facilitated with having Miss Shirley Ralph in her role as Dina, having I would love to see the cast mix up
That
Yeah.
would
all
be
the way through.
fire.
That would be dope.
Like
That's a
it's
great
gorgeous.
idea.
You trying to send niggas to their final resting place. That's what you doing. That is what you doing.
It would be everything.
It would be.
It
It
really
would.
Everything.
It really would.
And
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
glad that Cheryl is finally getting her just due.
Yes.
Like this, like that just shows. Just be diligent in your craft. Do what you love, and eventually it's gonna work out somehow, some
It
way,
sure
some
will.
way. You know.
Mhm.
I just love, and she's just incredible. I love me some Cheryl.
Yes, she is so fabulous. I love watching her do her thing. Mother Angela Bassett do her thing.
Mhm.
One who's
Mhm.
not credited enough. Speaking of Dreamgirls, Miss Loretta Devine.
Oh,
Period.
Oh,
yes,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Period.
Actually, I will watch every movie. I will specifically watch a movie just because I see her in the cast.
Loretta's in
Yes.
it.
Like literally, I don't care what it is. Oh, she doing? Who? Grandma? Yep. Put it
Yup.
on. Let's
Yup.
go.
And
I will watch
she
any
has
movie with her in it.
she has the sweetest swish I've ever seen on a woman. I love to see her walk. Remember that scene?
Not the the wait next time.
Wait till
Look
next
at
I'm
You
a
just
big
feel that
basketball
in
though.
your spirit.
Yeah. Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come.
Yup.
Yes, ma'am.
Yup. I haven't seen that in a minute. Whoa. You
Mm.
right? You right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Miss Loretta.
Serious question though, right now. What are you wearing to the Beyonce concert?
It depends on which city.
Which one you going to, or which ones, plural?
So I will be up there with you. I'm going in Seattle. I'm going in Houston, of course, but I'm actually starting July 9th in Toronto, Canada.
Oh, she said I got three. The trifecta.
She
Okay,
said,
now.
I know
she
that's
said,
right,
she said, this is
man.
my world tour. This is not your world tour.
She said, I need
She's like,
angles.
"Beyonce gonna be
Angles,
there.
you hear me?
I'ma be there
Angles.
too.
Honey.
I'm gonna be there
And she
too.
better be glad I don't speak German and couldn't get this Google Translate to work because I tried to buy tickets, but they wouldn't translate the site for me for the Germany.
Oh, well.
So, and I wasn't just gonna guess because I also don't know the currency exchange, so it
Right.
was just too much. But I will be wearing some form of a glittery gown to every one of them.
I know that.
I love it.
Yeah, we need pictures.
Right.
We need,
Oh,
we
we
need
do.
those pictures.
And
Yeah.
will.
And we'll post them.
Absolutely.
We'll post them for you, honey.
Let's see here. Audra McDonald or Viola Davis?
So I don't have a tattoo for this one yet. Y'all, my favorite TV show of all time after Sister Sister is How to Get Away with Murder. It's Viola Davis.
There we go.
And I adore her. There is
Yeah.
nothing that she can do wrong.
I
From
agree.
literally doing her own audiobook, which I absolutely loved, to the text itself, her playing Annalise Keating. I'm like,
She
first of
killed that
all,
shit.
I got a lot of friends who are lawyers, and they wasn't killing people that much in law school.
That much.
that was my show. And then I know, she speaks out about her role in The Help a lot. I absolutely loved her in that movie, and I understand some of the challenges with the whole plot line and level of centricity that's positioned within the film. But I do think that her role in it is so incredible in how
Mhm.
Yeah.
captured it as well.
She deserved the Oscar 1000% for that
Oh
role.
yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
1000% for that role.
Janet or Beyonce?
I am respectfully going to decline. I have to. I have to.
This one said, "I plead
You
the
ain't
fifth."
gonna get me.
He said, "I
If
plead
you
the
give me
fifth,
an
the fourth, the
attribute-
third, the second, and the first."
Right.
If you give me an attribute, I might respond to that. But like,
Look. She said, "This going on the internet?" Oh no!
Right. She said, "Not today. No, not today." I know, like that's always been the hardest question for all of us. Like, and we finally like I don't know what episode it was. We finally kind of gave our answers, but I struggle with the day to day still. If
listen, my life
there
was
isn't a definitive
a
answer, there is
50-year-old
not.
man dancing back up for one of them. And so I don't ever want this to become the receipt for why I don't.
I
get
know
a-
that's right. She's telling
I
you.
know that is
She
right.
said, I'm not blocking none of my blessings. Okay, look,
Escape or SWV?
you.
You also not about to have Latasha coming and stealing my money.
Coming for my money.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Escape.
Wow. Okay.
Escape.
Why?
I
Why
love
Escape?
a lot of the discography from SWV. I really do.
Mm.
I just love the well-rounded nature of Escape and the members of Escape. And for me, it is seeing what they've done in business as Mavens, particularly Candy and Tiny, um,
Yeah.
obviously. And they have so many.
She just
Look,
let that.
this-
Obviously.
Right. Obviously.
This podcast is called Minority Report.
I'm just telling what I know and believe. I mean, they have so many hits. One thing that I go back to being 9 years old, y'all, and this was back when my voice had actual range. And baby, when Miss Candy hits that high note in "You're My Little Secret," I didn't even
Right.
know what I was singing about. But when she's
Yeah.
and now as an adult, I'm like, everybody does cheat.
Honey,
know how,
there's
you
so
got
many
no
cheating
this, you got
songs
no
out there. I mean, Whitney used to had a massive hit, and it's about stealing some other band. I'm like, damn, saving all my love, saving it all for you. Damn, Whitney. But no, you're right. I was like, you my little secret.
Yes.
I'm like, what? You gonna put a bounce to it?
Did anybody see ya?
Huh? Creeping to my house last night because she got that deep voice.
It's when you know a song didn't last the test of time. When I got your message on my beeper.
On my beat.
Yeah.
The fact that she don't know, it really turns me on.
That's a line. That is a whole line. Listen.
It was a bop though.
People still streaming and listening to it. Let's be honest.
True.
All day,
That's true.
all day, every day.
But apparently not as much as Weak.
Weak is the ending song. Let's be for real.
I agree.
Weak's
I
the
said my
ending
pick of the group, but Weak has to be the ending song.
Period.
Mhm.
Like, and they saw it at that concert in that last episode. They're like, "Oh, understand this last song."
Right.
Mm-mm.
It's like, let me get to the car right quick before this traffic get bad.
Why are we arguing about this?
Like, come on now. Oh man. So I know we're at the end of the episode. Quickly, maybe go around here. We saw the whole thing going around with like the Tennessee 3. Jarrell, what do you want to say quickly about it?
Quickly, I just want to say this is why it's important that everyone continues to speak up. Do not get quiet. The Republicans are trying to play chess, thinking we are playing checkers. We need to be on the same game as them. The shit that they pulled is literally about trying to And they're playing the game of trying to quiet the young folks. They're trying to take away because they know that this generation is coming behind us and they're about to annihilate that ass. And they are doing whatever they can to take away the rights of these young people who are tired. They haven't even been on the earth as long as some of us, and they already tired.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're not about to let this shit ride. And I also, seeing this shit happen too, I can't help but also think about what they're doing on Twitter as well too.
Yep.
Because this goes apart with that. They're trying to ban Twitter because you know what the young people talk on? Twitter and TikTok.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
And so they want to get rid of TikTok because it's not American born. But guess what? All the other companies are. So they get rid of TikTok because that's where the young people are really rallying right now. They are trying to really take away these freedoms. And y'all, it's all of us versus them. All of us versus them. Okay? This is not the time to be like Black, Asian, Indigenous, or Somalia, or whatever, Arab, or whatever the case is. It is all of us versus them. And you have to understand that. And if you don't, I encourage you to simply Google because you will understand. That's it.
Dewan.
I have a theory, and I believe that a lot of the politicians, especially the GOP, know that the sands of time are running out. So we probably got 10, maybe 12, maybe 8 years left where the people that we're seeing are in office and in positions of power are A, still in office, or B, still alive so that they're still in office. But the reality of it is that they know that the time is almost up for them to have the majority to do the things that they want to do, which is pad their pockets and pad the pockets of their friends. That's really what it boils down to. It's a money game. And so I feel like, because I've been trying to rack my brain trying to think, how is it that they're being so reckless? And when your back is up against a corner and you know that the time is nigh, you ain't got nothing else left to lose. So it doesn't surprise me to see this elevation of these kind of horrible policies, because these are people that aren't going to be in position and in power for much longer, and this is the time that they have to be able to make it. It's their one shot, and that's it. Well, it's the last of their shot. So I feel like that's happening. And as it relates to like the young men, my other theory around that is I think this was a huge mistake. I think by expelling them, they have elevated those individuals' status, because we, by and large, would not have even known. We would have known they existed, but like they would not have the platform. They've essentially become living martyrs based on this one experience, and we've heard them speak. These are people that are, you can rally them around for presidency.
Period.
Like these are, so I think so. So while it was a gross injustice, it was a miscalculation, because now they've created a living martyr out of these individuals, and it's going to catapult their career beyond their wildest dreams. And now they will have an even bigger platform, and it will also elevate the platform of every other person that is in a similar situation. I think it was a big mistake on their part.
Yeah. Jarvis, we'll end with you.
You know, as I watched it, there's a quote I used to lecture about a lot. It's by a 20th century theologian named Reinhold Niebuhr, where he argues man's capacity for justice makes democracy possible. Man's inclination to injustice makes democracy necessary. I live and breathe by that in this moment, because the Republican Party's antics are so deeply geared toward creating spaces of injustice that we have to relish in and amplify what democracy is, means, and should be now more than ever. Two quick thoughts. I hear you, sis, about they playing chess. They think we playing checkers. I want to play chess. We need to be playing backgammon. We need to be.
Not the
I
Period.
want to.
She flipped that table. She said,
I
"Fuck
got
this."
we dropping dominoes. I want to
Oh.
be in a whole different place than you because the game you're playing, I cannot win. Because you are playing with chess pieces that you are constantly pulling from under the table, that are constantly being
Mm,
granted to you in spaces on the
yes.
side that I cannot see. I am
Yeah.
not going to play your game. I'm going to change the rules and play by a different game that is more effective.
I
In
love
this
that.
moment, even if we were to talk purely around community politics, this is a moment where we need the Black community and the Asian community, for starters, to come together and support this.
Yeah.
They went after Justin Jones as much for his Black identity as they did for his Filipino identity.
Yeah.
This is
Mhm.
our moment as a collective community to say all these things that we did following George Floyd's murder and hashtag Stop Asian Hate around solidarity. This is
Hmm.
your moment. Two, any parent that is a part of this community or that will ever get a hold of this clip, I do not care what your political ideology is. If you are a parent and you do not realize your obligation to be on the right side of history in this one, and recognizing that the only thing that the Tennessee Three did was go out and protest in a space where they have spent way more airtime and coverage trying to make sure drag queens can't perform in public, that you're not giving funding to support drag queens who read in libraries, and that their sisters in Texas and Florida are continuing to do the same to limit the impact of our community. You spent more time on that than to create effective policy that ensures that those 3 9-year-old kids and those 3 60-year-old adults that died from somebody that was an alum of Covenant School, to ensure their safety and protection. You've not spent time addressing the policy to impact that. And in fact, you punish and degrade folks who are put there and trying to do this work. If you're a parent, you have no excuse. I don't care what your racial identity, gender identity, sexual orientation, or political beliefs or underpinnings are. Your heart alone should get you to understand that these folks were fighting for the right thing, and they deserve to be in their role advocating for it.
I'm trying so hard not to cry because um ooh, Modus was ooh, missed school last week because there was a bomb threat. So they like they said no school for the next 2 days. And he went to school and he was like, I was there. He was like, but I was not there. He was like, I did not feel safe. I didn't feel comfortable. And and I'm sitting there and I'm hearing these words and I'm like, how do I help this 13-year-old young black boy who's going to be a black man in America navigate this space? Because there are so many layers on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not even just the school shootings. I have to have conversations. I have to have the conversations about just even just being black in these spaces as well too. You are absolutely correct. Like, there's no way a parent should have the ability to compartmentalize these deaths and the way that a lot of them are being able to do. It's it's sickening in the bad way. And it's not good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we've seen all the additional mass shootings this week.
Yeah.
I've run out of words. I mean, and it's sad to say that. It's just like, I mean, we're still prayers and love and sympathy and empathy to these families and communities. But come on, like it's every day at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and for grown ass people to find ways to justify it's I don't even have a strong enough word, honestly,
Mm.
to say how sickening and disheartening it is to see this day in day out. So to hear your nephew going through this and trying to process this at 13, I can't even process this shit at 39,
Yeah.
and nor should I have to,
Yep.
nor should he have to, nor should anyone have to. So we always preach about voting on this podcast and showing up and speaking out how you need to, whether that's monetarily, vocally, all the leads, we need to do so even more so now, because clearly the folks in power now and that have been in power for centuries don't give a damn. And it's up to us to give a damn and change some shit immediately. So, yeah. Whew. Well, Jarvis.
Can I
hold on? Wait. Because you go, Duan, because there's one thing that I have to say as well too. But go ahead, Duan.
Just really quickly, next week is our 4th anniversary.
Yes.
And we're getting together.
Yes.
It's a live event, so please join us. Bring
April
your wigs,
19th.
bring your drinks, bring your sassy attitudes. Get ready to talk, get ready to laugh, get ready to have fun and kiki. We are so excited to celebrate with you all. Please join us next week, 8:30. We'll send out details, but please join us.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait. And I have one little thing that I have to say. And the only reason why I have to say this is because I just love the amount of predominantly white people who have been very in their feelings about this. But I have to give a little shout out to Bud Light and their support and what they've been doing. Let me tell y'all, and they stood 10 toes down and the fact that they were going to use their platform and their marketing to ally with this trans activist as well too. I am here for it.
Yep.
Let me tell you, I went every place I went to this weekend. I was like, Bud Light. Bud Light. Yeah. I don't even drink beer like that, but I was like, Bud Light. Yeah. Bud Light, what you want? Bud Light, 100%. So, if y'all want to sponsor us too, we see you, we appreciate you. Honestly, 1,000%, because that's allyship and that's showing up. Yep. And I love the fact that there were celebrities who were saying, I don't want this at my concerts. There were so many people saying, and a lot of them, their market is like that Mid-America, those communities where they lean to the right. Okay. And they stood their ground. That's how you show up.
You want to know if you're not performing, to your earlier question, Dewan, when you are willing to low-key risk it all by pushing out your target market because you know it's the right thing to do.
That part. Yeah. That part. Absolutely.
Instacart is some Bud Light, by the way.
Did you?
Not the Instacart. I'm so done with you, Shar.
No lie.
That's such a Shar thing to do.
Hey, look, at the end of the day,
I ain't going to walk down to the bodega. I'm going to Instacart this shit.
No. Yeah, but they still get the money. Like, I'm a big believer. Like, at the end of the day, you want to know what your company cares about. You want to know what you care about. You look at the balance sheet. Mm-hmm. Period. Point blank.
Let me tell you.
You look at the balance sheet. So we talked about this in one of our episodes before about people who get out and protest and whatnot. That's not my ministry, but I will use whatever resources I have to put people on and put money in their pockets. We did the same thing. We went to Afrotech. I brought them girls on over, and and DocuSign didn't pay for that. It got Jarvis in here. We got a whole slew of people that are getting their bags because we're putting our money where our mouth is. And so I live that personally.
Yep. Hey, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I got that fighting spirit, bitch.
I know you do, boo.
What's up, bitch? Let's go.
Capricorns love to fight.
What it is, so what's up? Okay, look. All right, look. Okay. Don't play.
Jarvis, like we could spend 5 hours talking to you, boo. You are welcome back anytime you want to.
Thank you.
We adore you. Continue to push. We know it can get tiring sometimes. But if you need someone to lift you up, call your aunties. We got you, boo. Because we need folks like you in these spaces for representation. We need you at these tables. We need you on these golf courses. So please keep it going, and we appreciate you so much. Where can they find you on social and all that good stuff?
Yes, hit me on Insta at official Jarvis Sam, and then LinkedIn at Jarvis Sam. Thank y'all for the space that you're creating, for this visibility. I have never been in public forum and communication and podcast type forum like this with people that share so many aspects of my identity, and I can't tell you how much it means to me.
Oh, appreciate that. Appreciate that.
You
Well,
don't have us saying we
next
love you
week.
too, boo.
I know, right?
Don't get me into that ugly cry. You know I'll cry.
I gotta work with her tomorrow.
Hey, tomorrow you're going to see the 2% of Auntie Shar. Community, wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. We'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.